finally entered Vault 87 in search of the Garden of Eden creation kit, which would be used to hopefully finish the work at Project Purity. But along the way, and in their way, were 5 million pissed-off super mutant overlords. Now it was time to delve ever deeper into the darkest recesses of Vault 87 and see what horrors await, and hopefully again. This is Fallout 3!
Welcome back. Zoop, zoop. There we are. And let's see. Did I check these little lockers here? Yeah, I did. I keep thinking I haven't checked them. All right. Let's see. Check these dudes. Ah, look. A Chinese assault rifle. Perfect. Get some of those. Get some of that. Good.
Hang on. I just need to catch my breath.
A spork and a coffee mug. All right. Now let's check this lower level. Yeah, look, it's blocked off. Get some darts there. Let's get the rocket launcher readied. Can fire this thing off. Do a quick save as well. Anything else here worth looting? No. Alright. More bodies. Got a spatula here. Butter knife. I guess people were just fighting using butter knives and spatulas. Spatulae. Test labs. Okay. I remember this being, like, probably the scariest location in the game. Right? Vault 87. Oh, man. I think I just shot right through that dude. There we are.
Yeah, kid. What do you need?
Oh, sorry, Jericho. Sorry, as you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna fuck your shit up, kid. Die!
Good. Let's get this reloaded again. But yeah, like, Vault 87 is just unnecessarily, or maybe, like, jokingly unnecessarily, overly grimy. It's just so grimy and gnarly looking inside of it. It might be maybe the worst looking vault interior in all of Fallout 3? Is that safe to say? Is that true? That might be the case. Right? Either way, I definitely remember it scaring me one of the first few times I played through the game when I was younger. Like I said, I didn't play it as soon as it came out. Fallout 3. I can't remember when it was. I think it was before Skyrim came out. I played it. It was when I first really got onto Steam, you know? Because it was, you know, part of the Steam sales and all of that. That's how I finally got my hands on Fallout 3 and Oblivion. It was thanks to the Steam sales, because I never had a console when these games came out that was current enough to run it, and my computer also, in a similar way, wasn't current enough to run them. Was only good enough to really run, like, World of Warcraft. Let's do a quick save here. Get some of that. Centaur, Super Mutant Master Head. Oh, another Chinese assault rifle. Here.
Yeah, kid. What do you need?
Let's do some
Sure.
trading.
Give me whatever you got.
Should we just give him Chinese assault rifles? Nah, I can load him up with these laser rifles. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize we had 2 tri-beams ready to go and be folded into each other. Should probably use these nades. They definitely weigh us down. Test Chamber 01. FEV, Test Chamber 01. Authorized personal only. Chamber status check. Error, chamber offline, code yada yada. FEV reserves. FEV tanks depleted. Ugh. Failed FEV subject. Yeah, this thing looking very much like a enemy type that you would see in Fallout 1 or 2. Yeah. Gnarly as hell. I wonder what made them decide to not have this be an enemy type, because look at how, like, intricately it's modeled. You know? I'm shocked that this wasn't like a new type of failed FEV enemy type. You know? I'm shocked. Okay. At the very least, I got to put them here. Here, I wonder, do their body parts, like, blow up as well? Let's see. That would be a good way to test that, just to, like, punch. Can you punch them off? I don't know. Hang on. Can I load up, like, a... Yeah, let's drill into it a bit with a Chinese assault rifle. Huh. No, I don't think it has any limb damage. Okay. Still, what a shocker. And frankly, what a tease, too. Like, seeing the model there like that almost seems like it's a tease that, oh, this is going to show up later. You know, you're going to fight one of these in a bit. But you never really do. Wild. Wonder why. I'm guessing it maybe was, like, cut content, cut in the interest of time. Test chamber 2. Okay, status check. Chamber offline. FEV reserves. Tanks depleted. Okay. Sure. Alright. Let's do a quick save here. Test chamber 3. I think I hear another super mutant coming down the hall. Code offline. Tanks depleted. Same. Yep. Seems for some master, though. Good. Okay. I'm assuming that... Like, isn't it odd that there's radiation in these rooms? Is that not weird? That there's radiation in the FEV testing rooms? Because wasn't the whole point of FEV is to be like some sort of anti-radiation countermeasure? You know, to make a bioweapon that could persist through radiation. That way you could more easily, like, employ this, like, super soldier against enemies in warfare in an irradiated battlefield, right? Wasn't that the original intent? Because, like, I can't remember for certain, but I'm, like, pretty sure that FEV, the Forced Evolutionary Virus, it, like, absorbs radiation, right? Doesn't it? It's either, like, it deflects radiation perfectly or near perfectly, or it, like, actively absorbs it. It's one or the other, right? And that's why, like, in Fallout 4 and 76 to a degree, when you're fighting super mutants and ghouls, they're both immune to radiation damage or highly resilient to it, right? Like, if you actually have weapons in those games that deal radiation damage, and it's kind of worthless against them, right? In the same way that it's kind of worthless against robots as well, you know? Which in turn means that those are kind of like pretty shitty weapons, as it turns out, because that means, oh, a lot of things are either resistant or straight up immune to radiation damage, right? But I think that's the case, right? And speaking of early times playing Fallout, this was one of the things I always misunderstood, is the difference that FEV makes, right? An FEV creature, like the centaurs, like the super mutants, is distinctly different from, like, radioactive mutants, right? From, like, ghouls. Ghouls are a result of exposure to radiation after the, like, nuclear Armageddon, just radiation in the world and all of that. Whereas FEV is from this, like I said, this failed super soldier serum, effectively. that was intended to create like super soldiers and whatnot, you know? But obviously it went very wrong. It's a like it says in the acronym, a forced evolutionary virus. Okay, an ash pile. Oh, another Chinese assault rifle. I will take that. Let's do a quick save. But yeah, growing up, for quite some time, I always thought, and I think there's still quite a few people who misunderstand this. I feel like I've always mentioned that there's like levels of Fallout lore knowledge and wherewithal, where at a certain point you realize, oh shoot, yeah, super mutants aren't naturally occurring. Super mutants didn't just exist because they were people who got exposed to radiation. That's what ghouls are. Super mutants are because you got like exposed to FEV, either through like injection or dipped in a big old FEV vat and all of that. Right? Another one of the failed FEV subjects. Okay. There was no extra flavor text here, right? Yeah. Chamber offline, tanks depleted. Sure. Let's do a quick save. Pop this one here on the right. First aid, stims and whatnot. Okay. Oops, my bad. Check that. 20 caps there. Can I rest? Cannot sleep when there are enemies nearby. Okay, fair enough. Got some med-X there. Useful. How about this? Vault 87 Chief Physician's Terminal, Dr. Wayne Merrick. Entry 87-34190. Okay, and these are all ascending. So we'll start from the top. The latest subjects in the Evolutionary Experimentation Program, EEP, are showing some promise after only a single exposure to the modified FEV. We are currently testing 5 subjects, 2 males and 3 females. Each one of them is under 24-hour observation as usual. We hope to have a breakthrough in this strain as the continual pressure from Vault Tech and the military at Mariposa is becoming most bothersome. Right, and Mariposa you have significant run-ins with in Fallout 1 and to a lesser degree Fallout 2, right? But primarily Fallout 1. Let's see, next one. Incredible results. After only 3 days, subjects B440, B164, and D624, all our female specimens, are all exhibiting a unique change. Their bodies are undergoing severe physical changes, losing most of their visible female indicators and transforming to an almost asexual state. They are also seeing increased upper body strength and muscle formation in line with males. Similarly, subjects C376 and A541, our male specimens, are losing most of their visible male indicators and taking on the same asexual state as the females. It seems that the FEV wishes to level the playing field and start with a clean slate as it works. Entry 8734, 23-3. Right, and of course, that there, people losing altogether, like, their ability to reproduce and, like, rendering everyone fully sterile with the FEV. That's like a big argument you can levy to sort of break the mind of the final boss of Fallout 1, right? Which we very much could have done in our playthrough. I think I even did it by reloaded because I prefer to kill them, right? The master of Fallout 1. That's like the big argument you make to show the master that a lot of their plan for like rebuilding the world in the image of the super mutant of FEV, right? That is the next step of evolution, is folly because, like as we have seen here, and we can conclude from more of this, I assume, it makes you completely sterile, right? If you find out in Fallout 1 that information, you can use it in dialogue to make it to where you can resolve the final boss fight without, like, throwing a punch, as it were. But, I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of unsatisfying for me. It's very cool that it exists, but I do prefer to actually come to blows with such a, like, incredible antagonistic force, you know? I don't know. It's kind of fun. I kind of enjoy the idea of coming to blows. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't check out their big plan is folly because eventually everyone will just die out. Humanity doesn't get preserved through the FEV. It dies a slow, painful death as numbers dwindle because nobody can ever be born again, right? That said, I guess cloning. Wouldn't cloning be the way around that? Which cloning definitely exists in the world of Fallout. Is that connection ever made? That, like, the Master's plan could have been foiled, but there's totally a way around it by way of cloning? Yeah, I'm curious. Okay. Though I think Fallout 3 is the first Fallout game to sort of show off cloning? No? Were there clones in Fallout 2? I feel like if any Fallout game were to have clones, it would have been 2. Before 3, at least. I don't think there were. Right? I don't think so. Anyway, entry 87-34-23-3. We've had a minor setback. Subject B440, Mary Kilpatrick, is now deceased. According to my autopsy, she died of a massive loss of brain function and was unable to sustain her basic bodily needs. This is the usual pattern we see in all the FEV strains we test. The brains are the subjects becoming too damaged to support even the most basic human needs, eating, sleeping, etc. So far, all other subjects are nominal and continue to exhibit physical changes. Which I think that is also alluding to the biggest difference between the East and West Coast FEV strains, right? Because they're derived from the same, like, source FEV. Like, it's sourced from the stuff on the West Coast from Mariposa. But the one out here is used for testing through Vault Tech. And it's, like I said, it's a different strain. Which makes them, I think, on average or entirely less, like, mentally capable, right? Like, their int, right? To use game mechanics, their int gets lowered. It's an int debuff to be a super mutant, to undergo FEV changes, FEV-ification, which is not the case for the Master's super mutant army, right? Certainly there were super mutants that were, like, dumb as a bag of rocks, right? Certainly we encountered some of them in Fallout 1. But so too were there ones that were hyper-intelligent, who we also encountered, right? There were ones who had their intelligence, like, super-duper enhanced, you know? Entry 87-34-26-5. At 10 days, we are now noticing that the skin of all our remaining test subjects is actually thickening and becoming more resilient. This seems to be the FEV bringing about some new adaptive change. This is the kind of result we were looking for. Adaptations that could prove useful in combat situations. I need to remember to congratulate Dr. Philo on his skin engineering. His coded instructions in this strain seem to be exactly what he expected. Are we familiar with a Dr. Philo? I don't know that we are. I don't remember a Dr. Philo. That said, it could be so incidental that I've forgotten. Entry 87-34-33-5. Once again, I've hit that damn wall. At 14 days, all of the test subjects began to exhibit severe bouts of rage and anxiety, so much so that they were a danger to my team and to this facility. I had no choice, once again, but to order them to be destroyed. It pains me every time to do this. The same cycle has been repeated in every strain we test. We always see superior physical adaptations, but the mental changes are their downfall. Yeah, I forget why they went for... Maybe it was to create a more subservient army. Maybe that was it. Right? Like an army that doesn't question orders or whatever. But in that case, why fucking bother? You know, why fucking bother with all this when you got robots? You know? I think that's the real question. Why did they fucking bother? Oh, silly me. Of course, the answer of why they would bother, well, it's capitalism, of course. Of course, that's it. It's because the robots are owned by a different company. FEV is West Tech, right? FEV is sourced by West Tech, and thus they wanted the weapons, what would you call it, weapons contract to produce weapons for like the United States military and all of that. Their super soldier serum. They didn't, obviously robots were the way to go, you know? They make so much more sense. Like, why fuck around with all this testing and stuff when who gives a shit? You got robots. That matters a whole lot more if you're the CEO of a company that doesn't make killer robots, but instead makes like various drugs. You know? Makes a whole lot more sense. Okay. Oh, this is completely blocked off. Oh.
You over there, please, come speak to me. I'm in the room to your left. Oh, use the intercom next to the window.
Okay. This is none other than Wes Johnson, I believe. Let's see. Let's give Jericho another one of these tri-beams real quick.
Around here? Sure. Give me whatever you got.
There we are. Okay, let's go. Okay. Intercom.
It can't be. Either you are quite real, and I am going quite mad. Could you actually be a pure human?
I think this is one of the more clever things where for a super mutant, they don't have quite as detailed facial animation and like lip syncing as they do for human and ghoul characters, right? And you know, the non-feral ghouls pretty much have like the same rigging, I would guess, as the humans, right? Or at least incredibly similar. Where super mutants are a bit bulkier, you know? They're bulked out in different ways. And they have like this constant grimace on their face in Fallout 3. So the facial animations aren't quite there yet. But this is a fun idea to sort of hide the fact that like, yeah, we don't really have fully souped up facial animations for a character like this, you know? So it's going to look a little goofy if we have this character talk to you. So it seems like their first idea was like, oh, we'll only ever have you talk to this character through intercoms, you know? So you don't have like our typical zoom in on their face and see them animate, right? Is that the idea here? I wonder, because later down the line, you totally do have this sort of like iconic BGS of this era, like zoom in on the NPC's face as they're talking. And like I said, it's just not quite the same as seeing a ghoul or human NPC speak to you, you know? I wonder if that was the intent. And maybe this character wasn't meant to have as big of a role initially, but it got changed somewhere down the line. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm human, but what are you? Give me one good reason not to kill you. A friendly super mutant. Well, now I've seen everything. That's not true. We have totally seen Uncle Leo. You're kind of weirding me out. I gotta go. I am indeed, but I have no time to discuss these matters. Give me one good reason not to kill you.
What's the matter with you? I assure you, I'm unlike the others in this dank place. The name's Fox. I'd shake your hand, but this room happens to be my prison cell.
It's amazing how well you can speak. That's quite an unusual name. Sorry, I have more important things to do. It's quite an unusual name.
It was taken from a historical entry in the computer. The name comes from a man who was willing to fight and die for what he believed in. I felt it was appropriate, given my circumstances.
Yeah, Fallout 3 came out in a period where, and was developed, more specifically, I suppose, when V for Vendetta was really hot shit, right? So, hey, there you go, Fox. Why have you been imprisoned? How come they've kept you alive? Sorry, I have more important things to do. Why have you been imprisoned?
Because I'm a curiosity, an anomaly. They don't know why I'm different than they are, and I think it fascinates them. All the locked rooms in the medical wing contain failed experiments that they created.
I wish I could stay in chat, but I need to find something important. If you've been here as long as I imagine, maybe you can help me. This is a huge waste of time. Alright, yeah, maybe you can help me.
Perhaps. I assume you're here to find the Gek.
Wow, how'd you know about that? What do you know about the Gek? The Gek? Never heard of it, lie. Sorry, I have to get going. I don't have time for this. What if I just lie? What reason would I have to lie here? Right? It's not like this person can really even do anything. You know, why do I give a shit? Why would I lie? I guess if I'm just a sicko, I just can't help it. Right? Which, fair enough. I guess if anyone would, just for the hell of it, my character would. The Gek? Never heard of it, lie.
I read a tape once on how to tell if someone's lying. And I must say, you're a terrible liar. Why else would you be in this horrible place if it wasn't to get it? People before you have tried, and failed many times. However, you're in luck. I know where it is. And best of all, I know how you can get your hands on it.
Why would you help me? Good. Tell me everything you know about it then. How about you tell me all you know and I don't paint the wall with your brains? Well, we gotta say that.
What is it with your kind? This is why the bombs fell, you know.
Oh, okay. This is why, huh?
Tell you anything. You kill me, you get nothing. So what's the point? Let me out of this place, and I'll retrieve the Gek for you.
Why would I have difficulty getting the Gek? I'm not worried. I can mow down whatever's in my way. Sorry, I have to get going. I don't have time for this. I'm not worried. I can mow down whatever's in my way.
Unless your weapons can destroy radiation. I'd say that will prove difficult. The Gek is in a chamber flooded with deadly radiation. I doubt you could survive inside very long. However, I can. Let me out of here, and I will place the Gek safely in your hands.
How do I get you out? How do I know you won't run the second I get you out? Sorry, I have to get going. I don't have time for this. How do I know you won't run the second I get you out?
There's no way to prove it. You'll just have to take my word for it. I've already helped you by warning you about the radiation. Take that as a gesture of good faith. So, what do you say?
Okay, Fox, you got a deal. Sorry, I have to get going. I don't have time for this. Okay, Fox, you got a deal.
Glad to see you are a sensible person. Now, get me out of this place. I can't stand it anymore.
Do you know what the Gek does? Tell me how I can get you out of that room. I have to go now. This as well sort of illustrates, this little bit of conversation here sort of illustrates the major flaw with Fallout 3's initial ending pre-Broken Steel. And why I think it is or at least it was particularly egregious, right? But I think they cleverly enough write their way around it. You know, I think it's fine enough how they write around it. Some folks still have qualms with it. So to go into some degree of spoilers, even if you... apologies if you're unfamiliar with Fallout 3, but in order to talk about this, at the end, the initial end of Fallout 3, without saying too much, there is a room you have to go into with a lot of radiation in it, right? And originally, it was set up to where this would, like, incapacitate you beyond recovery. It wasn't until with the Broken Steel DLC that it would incapacitate you beyond recovery, and then you would still be able to play again, right? Because Broken Steel continues the storyline after that point, right? But it seems very obvious that Broken Steel was developed as DLC and as, like, an afterthought. It wasn't always in the cards. But of course, you can have a follower with you. And regardless of how powerful that radiation is, if you have Fox with you, or Sharon, right? Or another robot, right? Because you can have a robot follower. I believe, like, you should be able to send any of them in there into that room with radiation without going in yourself. For whatever reason, the big one that people always bring up is Fox. I don't remember why it's only just Fox that people bring up, when there's totally Sharon who could go inside of that room. There's totally the, like, Mr. Gutsy robot that could go inside of that room too. They 100% should be able to do that same thing. And I'm very curious, actually, now that I think of it, what excuses those two companions have, right? But initially, Fox was like, oh, I'm not going to go in there and do this for you. Or there was no option for Fox to do it, I think. Man, I can't even remember now how it originally was. It was either that Fox just outright didn't have the option, right? You didn't have the option to ask Fox to go in for you, or you did have the option, and Fox said that this was like some sort of moment of destiny, right, for you to go in there and seemingly die to this radiation at the end of the game, right? That your sacrifice here was integral, right? It was just the way things were meant to go. Which a lot of people had a problem with that, right? A lot of people did not like that. And I think, I would say, thinking about it here and now, especially with what Fox said about the idea of dying, a man who died for an idea. He believed in an idea so much he died for it, and he took on their name, Guy Fawkes, right? I think there is reason enough to believe, like, yeah, of course Fox would believe this. Of course Fox wouldn't want to get in the way of me marching to my death to do some sort of deed, go on a seemingly goodly deed, to go into this room full of radiation, right? Of course Fox would think that because he's so idealistic. But the issue is, the disconnect is, that they didn't write enough for Fox, right? Guy Fawkes, or Fox the super mutant, doesn't have nearly enough writing to continually hammer home this degree of idealism at the cost of life, you know? That you could make that argument work and it feel fitting if Fox expresses that literally anywhere else in the game aside from here, right? This is the only time where I believe this is the only time in the entire game where you hear about this sort of ideal that Fox has. And like I said, if you keep reinforcing it through like a companion mission at the very least, but ideally through reactivity and other missions and stuff that you go on, if you have Fox accompanying you, because Fox is a future companion for good characters, Fox would ideally have other stances that sort of illuminate the idea of like, oh, this character is willing to let people die for ideas that they believe in because he finds it to be like poetic or something, right? He thinks it's beautiful because he has read so much of this tape, so much of this stuff about Guy Fawkes, you know? This is like a big part of his identity. But the unfortunate thing is they didn't either have the time or the willingness to do the work of further establishing the character, right? That's where it falls apart. Not because Fox denies going into the room. It's because they haven't done the work to further establish Fawkes as a character who would believe that, right? Who would have an extreme ideal in that, be so extremist as to let you enter that irradiated room and die for an idea, right? That's very much what they were trying to go for with the character, right? But they didn't earn that ending. They didn't earn the response in the opinions of a lot of people who played the game, because, like I said, nothing else really in the game works to reinforce that sort of character trait with Fawkes, you know? So, sort of the fix of it with Broken Steel is that you can just ask Fawkes to go in and do it, which I would argue isn't an ideal fix, actually, right? They should not have capitulated on that. I think they should have just fucking kept it. I think it was bad of them to go back on their original vision for this character, just because a lot of people didn't fucking get it. Which fair, and like I said, justifiably they didn't fucking get it because there just wasn't that much character exposition to read into. But I don't know, in seeing this right here, you can connect the dots and see very easily that that was the intent for the character, right? That this was meant to be a character who had very strong beliefs and thinks it's poetic when people die for their beliefs, especially if they're like good beliefs. They're like good, like what Fawkes deems to be morally correct, you know? He finds that to be like honorable and like beautiful and poetic in a way, right? But they, like I said, it would work out so much better if they had proper companion quests in Fallout 3, which they don't, or reactivity throughout regular quests, sort of like they do in Fallout 4, wherein you do a quest and every so often your follower will chime in and have a take about what's going on, you know? That kind of thing would have fixed all of it. The other issue, the only issue that I don't remember about is why that Mr. Gutsy and Sharon don't do it. Fawkes is definitely the big one that you hear about, and I think it's because most people play through Fallout 3 as a good character, especially for your first playthrough. I mean, case in point, that's what I did. So you're more liable to have Fawkes with you, and it's kind of fucking cool to have a super mutant with you, right? It's kind of dope as hell to have a super mutant with you, especially when you hear his like combat barks and stuff. He's dope as hell. So it's incredibly likely that you're a good character and you are a character who has Fawkes as a follower, right? But what excuses do Sharon and do the Gutsy have? Right? I have no idea. I would assume that they would have some kind of excuse or whatever, but I don't know. Right? Anyway, sorry. A long tangent, but this is something that I've disagreed with a lot of the like larger Fallout 3 discourse, that it was a good thing that they changed it. And I think it was a fucking mistake that they changed it, right? And in fact, I would even go so far that it set a bad precedent that you shouldn't change your artistic rendition, your like writing, your art as it were, just in response to it being kind of poo-poo, right? If a lot of people think it's poopy, you shouldn't just change it because of that, right? I don't know. That feels kind of antithetical to art as a body of work and feels more akin to this is a product, right? This is a product, this isn't art, you know, if you don't stick to your guns in your original vision. More so, I would love it if they went back and justified, like I said, through other ways, showing like, oh, Fawkes reacts in this way to this quest. You can see that this is a character who cares very much about ideals and is somewhat maybe fixated or obsessed with the idea of people dying for their morals, for their beliefs, right? Because he was so indoctrinated by this tape, this holotape that he like listened to or read or whatever, you know? That makes so much more sense to me and would fit the character way better. But like I said, you're in kind of a catch-22 situation where like you can't really do that because that would involve you remaking the entire companion system within your game, you know? That's the unfortunate thing about it. But otherwise, I don't know. That's my big grievance with the whole situation here. That's my big grievance. Maybe we'll delve into it more again later, but nonetheless, there it is. Man, I should probably like clip this out and make this like another like a video all to its own. I don't know. All right. Do you know what the Gek does? Tell me how I can get you out of that room. I have to go now. Do you know what the Gek does?
We can discuss this later. Right now, concentrate on getting this door open!
Tell me how I can get you out of that room.
At the end of the hallway, to your right, is the maintenance room. Inside, you'll find the fire control console for the medical area. Trap the alarm on it. I'll be able to get out. Oh, a word of warning, though. Tripping the console activates a fail-safe and will open all of the recovery rooms in the medical area.
What do I do once I trip the fire control console? I have to go now. Remind me how to get you out of that room. What do I do once I trip the fire control console?
I'll stay here until you've cleared a path to me. So just be careful. Some of these failed experiments are quite nasty.
Okay, I have to go.
It is my hope that we will speak again soon.
All right. Well, I think we will call it here for now because I talked a whole lot about this whole situation. We didn't get very far, but you know what? We got a whole lot of neurons firing in the old brain, and you know what? Maybe that's the goal at the end of the day after all. So when next we return, we're going to get Fox out of there. We're going to hopefully get the Gek. Until next time, please take care of each other.